So hello from Green-Mopeds at Strawberry Hill. We're just taking this Torrot Muvi executive out for a quick ride on a lovely December morning. So I thought I'd give you a run through of the stats of it and other information that might help you in your decision making process. So Torrot are out of Spain. They currently have 3 different classes of motorcycles that they do. They have a kids range called Torrot Kids. Then they have this range, which is called the Muvi, M-U-V-I range. And then they have the Velocipedo, which is forthcoming. It's interesting bike. It's a 3-wheeler. One of its primary uses is for delivery. Obviously with 3 wheels you can carry a lot more, but it also comes in a roofed version, which means that you don't need to wear a helmet because it has seat belts and it's inline 2-seater. They're currently taking pre-orders for that, but not too sure on the timescales right now. Anyway, so this is the Muvi Executive. So the Executive is a 125cc equivalent from a license perspective, which means it obviously goes over 30 miles an hour. This one will do about 38, 39. Then there is the Torrot Muvi City, which is the other one, which is the moped category, the 50cc equivalent, which obviously does under 30 miles an hour. They both look identical, the only difference being obviously that there's more performance in the Executive in this version. This has got 3 kilowatt maximum power, whereas the City has 2.65 kilowatt maximum power. They come in a variety of colours. In the UK we have essentially black and white, but there are others that Torrots actually do. Like nearly all of the bikes that we do, this has removable battery. So in fact it has 2 of them. From memory they're 60 volt. They have a good system for getting the batteries in and out. They slot in. There's no connection of cables or anything like that. It's simply you slide them in and the connector for the batteries is at the bottom. So it makes it very easy to get them in and out. What's interesting about the way they use the batteries or the battery management system is that well, you can ride on one battery, which is obviously a good thing in case you wanted to leave one behind, but in that case then you only have the eco mode available, so therefore you'll be back to essentially 28 miles an hour. So you can flip between eco mode and full mode essentially by pressing this switch here, the set switch. I don't know if you can see that. Here you see it goes from full to eco. The other thing that it will do is, if the batteries are 20% difference in terms of charge, it will also put you in to eco mode. The way you can tell that is on the dashboard. There are these 2 arrows here. next to the Eco. That means that both batteries are available, and I'll show you the dashboard when we stop, but essentially it's saying that that's fine for you to go into Eco or full mode. Okay. The other thing that's noticeable about this bike is it is belt driven, not hub. So you might not pick it up, but that does mean that there is some noise from the bike, which some people prefer over the hub motors, which are essentially silent. You probably can't hear it so well over the noise of the bike here. You might have just picked it up just then. That of course means that the motor is in the center of the bike, which some would argue is a better place for it, rather than having the weight of a motor, albeit not that heavy, at the back. I guess it also means that you have to check the belt from time to time for tension. That is part of the maintenance schedule that is in the documentation. Torrot actually give you all of the documentation on this little USB stick, so there's no paper manual. You have to print off this USB stick manual if that's what you want to do. The other thing to say about belt-driven bikes is that they are the pickup is a lot smoother than on a hub motor. So for those of you who've driven both, you'll notice that hub motors are quite instant in their pickup, so that takes a bit of getting used to. You know, you have to be sort of more smooth on the power, especially when you first got the bike and you're maybe not quite used to it. Whereas belt-driven bikes aren't like that. They are much more smooth in their pickup of the power. I guess the flip side of that is that the power delivery isn't as quick, so it's more smooth than this instant acceleration, and if that's what you like, then maybe the hub motor is the bike for you. But I have had people, in fact the customer for this bike is actually specifically wanted a belt-driven bike, didn't want hub motors. So, you know, there are two camps in that side of it, and there are different arguments as to which one is better. But just from a riding style, the belt-driven bikes are, I would say, smoother in their pickup. So the weight of the bike is about 80 kilos, and that includes 2 batteries. The batteries are about 8 or 9 kilos each. So as you can see, that makes it about a 70 kilo bike, which is, you know, as far as motorbikes goes, pretty light, which should also mean that you would be able to get it on the back of a trailer, on a camper van, or inside a garage within a camper van if that's what you wanted. It is a little bit bigger than its obvious comparison, which is the Ascol, which I'll go into in a minute. But it is also a true 2-seater. I can show you, well, there is a static review of this bike anyway, but this is clearly okay for 2 people. And some of the other bikes which claim to be 2-seaters, you could argue they would have to be pretty small. So as I said, the obvious comparison to this bike is actually the Ascol. Ascol are an Italian brand. We also offer them. So as I said, Torrot come in two versions in their Muvi range, the City and the Executive, 2.6 kilowatts and 3 kilowatts. Ascol actually come in three versions, which the ES3, which is their top of the range one, is pretty much identical to this in terms of spec. It's 3 kilowatt, it does over 30, you can do about 38, 39, has two batteries which are removable. The range is about the same. They both, well actually I think the Ascol would probably take it on the range. The range of the Ascols, I've been told, is 47 by someone who actually rode one from new to flat essentially. So the Ascol might take this, the range metric. Having said that, Torrot are also bringing out a new battery which is claimed to do up to 70 miles, so they might then take over in terms of range. The Ascol, as says, out of Italy, there are three in that range. There is a single-seater moped 30 mile an hour bike with one battery. Then there is a two-seater 30 mile an hour bike with two batteries, which is called the ES2. And then there's a 3 kilowatt 40 mile an hour bike with two batteries called the ES3. And that one would be comparable to this one. The ES2 would be comparable to the Torrot City. They both have sharing schemes that they run, so they're both sort of proven in the real world. Torrot have 5 cities in Spain with their moving. There are yellow mopeds that you can find in Spain that they hire out on the hour for the hour at about €7-8. Ascol have a scheme in Milan called Mimoto. As far as I know, that's the only scheme they have, whereas Torrots have also branched out into the US, so they've got San Francisco and Atlanta as well. So essentially that's to say that, you know, if there's a good test that you want to put a bike to, sharing scheme would be it, and or delivery, and they're both doing that. The other primary difference, I guess, between the two is that the Ascol comes with a rear tray built in, because the rear indicators are built into that rear tray for where you put the top box, whereas on the Torrot, if you wanted a rear tray, that would be an option. But the Torrot is a bigger bike. There's no denying it. You put the two side by side. I think I've actually put a picture of that onto our homepage on Facebook. You will see that the Torrot is physically bigger, which means if you really were considering 2 people, the Torrot would probably be the one to have. I think people have actually said that, you know, you would definitely need a top box on the back of an Ascol for the passenger not to be sort of shunted off the back. So as you can see, although this dashboard's in kilometers, didn't change it yet, we are doing 47 now, which and this is in eco mode, so 47 is about as fast as it will go. That's 28 miles an hour, so that's as fast as it will go in eco mode. No issues. in terms of price, the one thing I guess Askell have, and they've possibly done this deliberately, is that the price of the ES3 after the grant, so the price you pay is 3,199, whereas the price of the Torrot after the grant is 3,745. So you're talking about £500 difference. However, having said that, we're currently offering pre-registered Torrots for the same price as the Askell. So as you see on the dash, here's the charge of the battery, the range left on the battery, how far the total trip, and your current trip. There are different dashboard displays so that you can have different options available. There is also a Bluetooth app which allows you to obviously monitor the bike, set the miles and kilometers, get statistics on the battery, etc., etc., so that you can download from Google Play, iTunes, etc., and then monitor your bike from your phone. Askell doesn't yet have any equivalent functionality, but apparently I think they're working on that. Also, a difference between the two is that Askell does have regen on the battery. Torrot have yet to do that on this bike. That's supposed to give you, let's say, 5 to 10% back. And it is quite a feature that's becoming quite common now in electric bikes. The NIU offer it. I know that Zero offers it, and obviously when you're talking about range anxiety and how far you can actually get on these bikes, then this is something that might make the difference, having that extra 4 or 5 miles given back to you just by braking or freewheeling. So I hope that gives you a good idea of the bike. You're more than welcome to come and test ride all of our bikes. The website gives you information about that. We just ask that you pre-warn us when you're coming, so that we know that the bikes are fully charged or charged, so that you won't be disappointed. We have, out of the 7 or 8 ranges we do, all of them are available for test ride, so we encourage you to do that. We have had people who have come with one bike in mind and chosen another simply because they've tried it. And in fact, the person who bought this bike, he actually was looking at the Askell, but then he tried both and he decided that this one was better for what he wanted to do. So we do actively encourage all of that, and we're obviously set up to do so. So please feel free to contact us to arrange that. You can send us an email to hello@green-mopeds.com, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks very much.